with Coach Brooks, the Dukes yesterday, the victory over the University of Richmond, and just a little summarization of that victory yesterday against the Spiders, please.
Well, it was much needed, Kurt, and not from an aspect of wins and losses, but it let us understand who we are as a basketball team. We're starting to form our identity. We had the services of Destiny Jones yesterday for the first time, which was much needed. Her experience inside just really gave us a lot to look forward to. But so many kids are just trying to figure out what their role is going to be. I'm trying to figure out what their role is going to be. Yesterday was probably one of the more complete games. We played some good games this year, but it was a complete game, and more importantly, it was a complete game on the road. You never want to get into the back and forth banter of whether or not you're good or not on the road, and you don't want it to get into the kid's head. But we had to treat this differently than we did last Monday night against St. Bonaventure, and I thought the kids came out. They were very confident, got the ball where we wanted to get it to very early. And I got up to a very quick start, made our first 5 threes, which was good and bad. It was good because we made them. It was bad because that wasn't the game plan, But, I thought that really gave our kids a lot of confidence. So it was a great outing for us. The Robbins Center felt like a little bit of the Convocation Center yesterday. We had a great contingency of JMU fans there. And so it was a good evening. I thought a lot of things went well, and that's going to bode well for us in the future.
The impact of Destiny Jones, she finished with 7 points and 3 rebounds, but I would imagine that there were other benefits to her being out on the floor, and you played her a little longer than maybe what you had planned going in.
I was hoping for 8 to 10 minutes. Her win looked pretty good for really not doing a whole lot of anything for the whole semester. We really had no idea that she'd be able to play. She got cleared. We were going to take it along very slowly and see, hoping that she would be able to give us a few minutes by the 1st of January as we head into conference play. But we put her out on the floor for this week of practice, and she was pretty much our best post player. And we didn't know if she would be able to sustain it, during the course of a game. We put her out there, just her experience. She didn't have, world beater numbers, but 7 points, hit a couple of shots for us, a little mid-range jump shot. But it was just her experience and her toughness. And that's something we've been lacking on the inside for the first 6-7 games, and she provided that for us. And it was a much needed spark. The game went perfectly to the point where we had a comfortable lead. Her win looked good, so we let her stay out there a little bit longer than we anticipated, just to try to get a little bit more experience. And I thought she handled the situation well. Kids welcomed her back. They were very excited to have her back. And now it's going to allow us to let some of the younger kids develop at a better pace, as opposed to having to throw them out there and they have to perform at a high level for longer periods of time. So very, very happy to have her back. She was excited to be back, and I think it's going to really help us as we move forward.
She ended up playing 18 minutes yesterday. Are you playing her? I didn't take note of this as I was listening to the ball game. She and Didi at the same time on the floor. How do the numbers work between the two of them? And if that is the case, how does she impact Didi's play out on the floor?
She doesn't. She enhances it. She doesn't hurt it at all. We played them together, and we've actually switched their roles around where Didi's a taller player, but Destiny's playing the center position. And we put Destiny at the center position because obviously her wind is not as good to chase around. It's people on the perimeter. Destiny's probably stronger than anyone down low, and we wanted to keep it simple. Kind of like the Johnny Manziel package. We wanted to keep it very simple when she was out on the floor and not try to complicate things by making her have to learn so many different plays. So we kept it very simple while she was on the floor until she could get more practice time. But I think they're going to play off of each other. Didi, the one game that Didi played, the 5 for us, she didn't have as good a game. Her strength is to hit the little mid-range jump shot. She actually hit a 3 yesterday for us. And so I think Destiny's probably more effective down low.
A couple of other milestones were reached by a couple of your student athletes. First of all, the 29th player in the history of the women's program, Jazz Gwathmey, gets her 1,000th career point.
Unbelievable. Proud coach. Jazz has come in and she's worked extremely hard, throughout her whole career. I can remember the very first day she was here, and I sat her in my office and told her she needed a red shirt. And I remember her crying and, boo-hooing, did not want to buy into that whole situation. Probably would not have bought into it if it weren't for the support of her mother and her father. of what I wanted to do for her and the vision and the plan that I had for her. And to watch it come to fruition, it makes you very proud because she works as hard as anyone I've ever had. For her to get that plateau, I wish it could have been in a win, but for her to get to that plateau, it's tremendous for me, for her, for the program, and I think that only gave her a lot of more confidence. So we're going to be able to celebrate that probably at the Davidson game, but very happy for her, very well deserved because she works as hard as anyone.
And certainly the player that you're probably as hard on as anyone because she plays the position that you played as a collegiate athlete. And that, of course, Muff Mickens, as she surpassed 500. That's 500 career assists as she had 10 dimes yesterday.
And they were pretty dimes. They were fresh out the mint. They were beautiful. They had their crowd, oohing and awing over the whole situation. But again, if you had told me 4 years ago that she'd be in this situation, I might have thought you were crazy, coming from where she, came from. But very happy for her, very proud of her. Yesterday, she was able to play her type of game where she wasn't forced to score much, and she was able to distribute more. And that's why you saw her have a 10 assists, 1 turnover game, which when she's doing that and Jazz is making shots, Ashley's making shots, it allows everyone to be more of themselves. And that's why we were able to get out to a really good, comfortable lead and have a great showing. But Muff makes us go. She makes us go, and she's adding a lot to her game. And it's been a joy to be able to be her coach for the last 4 years.
I think you've got a couple of examples of just really how she understands the concept of what you want to do. Because if you go back to the American game, she was required to score in that game because of all the fouls that your other team members had, but then can come back and settle in to her typical role or the role that you want her to play as a true assist and playmaker.
Well, and that's where she's more comfortable. She scored at Robert E. Lee in bunches, but she understands that the best thing that she can do is be a distributor, be the floor general, be the quarterback of the team, and that's what she likes to do. She gets more out of dropping a dime to another player. That's the excitement that she gets. Not scoring points, and just watching her yesterday, she was in her element, and that's why we were as good. I was able to coach the game differently, probably more normal than in the last couple games because we've had to have her score, and for me to have to draw up plays or design plays for her to score, none of us are really comfortable doing. But when we can design plays for other people and she can feed off of that, that's when we're going to be at our best. And yesterday was an example of that. But I've said it a million times. I absolutely adore coaching her because it's a lot of fun, and she's like an extension of me out on the court, where she takes care of a lot of the little things which I'm not able to get to during certain parts of the game. But I know that with a lot of confidence that she can go out there and get it done.
All right, we're going to turn it over to other members of the media here at O'Neill's Grills. We're continuing with our Fan and Press Luncheon with JMU women's basketball coach Kenny Brooks. Gentlemen.
Coach, how is last week's loss sort of a second wake-up call for your team, and how was that reflected in the win over Richmond? And I guess overall big picture, what does that say about a team that can bounce back from a loss like that?
Well, it says a lot. I'm not sure if it was a wake-up call. I just know we didn't play well. And what we're trying to get from this team is to understand, we have a lot of freshmen that we're playing. People are playing in different roles. They're just really understanding and figuring out what they have to do. And, we got exposed in some areas, but we just didn't make shots. If we had made a few shots more here or there, when you have, Jasmine Guathme, who goes 9 for 29, yesterday she goes 8 for 14, much more efficient player. Ashley Perez, she's 2 for 21. The fact that we were still in the game at St. Bonaventure after those numbers was remarkable in itself to me, which shows we have grit and determination. We just didn't make shots on that night. So I thought we came back. We had a tough week of practice. I challenged them pretty good, and they responded in that way. But they also responded in a way that, hey, when we go on the road, it's got to be a business trip. We have to understand and to do the little things in order for us to win. And so I think we learned a lot about ourselves that week.
It's interesting with Jazz. She's the third player that I've personally seen reach 1,000, but it's like another day in the office for them. From a recruiting standpoint, what does it say about your program? What's the image that's created when someone can see, wow, there's 29th player to reach 1,000 points?
I think it says a lot. I had a very important phone call last night with a recruit, and that was one of the things that the parent was talking about, is that it says it seems like your players get so much better when they are there. And that's a big selling point. It really is. You look at Jasmine Guathme when she first came in. She had tons of talent, but she didn't have a lot of the other factors. And because she bought into it and she met me halfway, she works as hard as anyone I've ever had. That allowed her to get to that point. And it is. We probably don't celebrate it like we probably should, or maybe they do it other places, because it does happen a lot. If you ask me how many I've had since I've been here, I don't know. I don't, but I know it's a lot. I've seen kids come in through here, but it is a proud moment when we're able to decorate the ball and have them, recognized in front of the Convocation Center crowd. But it's a major accomplishment to have kids come through and improve and get better, and it's only going to make your program better.
And looking ahead, you have 2 big games after finals week, and it's at a holiday tournament. What's, I guess, maybe different just of playing at a holiday tournament where you have different teams coming in at a neutral site?
Well, I mean, it's a positive because you're getting West Virginia and Baylor on a neutral floor. Normally, what you have to do is go to West Virginia to play a game, and that's very tough. But when you can get them on a neutral floor, that's what we search for. We search for opportunities like this. It's where we got to play UCLA the first time at Naples. It was on a neutral floor, and we were able to get a win. When we go to these Caribbean tournaments, people, they make fun. They say, well, you're in Cancun, you're living it up, you're in Puerto Rico. I don't see any of the beach when I go, and it's a business trip. It just happens to be in a warm, neutral site. But we look for these opportunities, and obviously when we made this schedule, we figured we were going to have Precious, which was going to give us a fantastic opportunity to go out there and do some damage to these programs. But we don't have Precious. It was going to be a homecoming for her. But these kids are stepping up, and they're understanding how they have to get it done. And our goal is still the same: go down there and to win 2 basketball games, and we're going to compete. And it's going to do wonders for our team. Win, lose, or tie. For our psyche, for going into the conference play, because when we get to conference play, regardless of who we're playing, they're going to step it up a notch. And we're going to need teams like Baylor, like West Virginia, that are going to challenge us, so that when we go in there, we have the mindset at what level we need to play at. And I think these are great tournaments for us to get a tune-up for, so to speak.
Looking at your schedule the last few weeks, you've been on the road a lot. How did that come to be to where you're on the road as much? And do you think that's going to benefit your team come conference time, as young as you are in a lot of positions?
Yeah, I definitely do, because playing St. Bonaventure on the road, playing at Richmond on the road, they're almost identical to the upper echelon teams we're going to face in the CAA. And to win there, you're going to have your best effort. I'm not saying it's a given, but I always tell the kids playing on emotion is worth 8 points in itself in a game. And when you play at the Convocation Center, you have lots of emotion, so that's probably a plus 12 for us at home. But we have to learn how to play on the road, and games like that are going to really benefit us, because it's a carbon copy of our teams in our league. St. Bonaventure, they just beat Penn State the other day. They're a very good basketball team, and for us to be challenging them, I like where we were. Richmond's a very good team who always plays us very tough. And the fact that we won 20 straight games in the Commonwealth, that's a big measure in itself, because they get up for us. We recruited a lot of those kids that play for Richmond, and some of them wanted to come to JMU, so they have a little bit more pep in their step. So those games are going to be very beneficial, very similar to the teams we're going to be playing in the upper echelon of the CAA.
How is your leadership through this road stretch? Are you seeing your team start to lean on one another, and some of the younger players look to your older players?
We have great leadership. Muff Mickens and Jasmine Guathme are 2 of the best leaders that I've had. They understand it. They've learned from the Nickies and the Kirbys and people before them, Toya Jiggets. And then Precious as an element as well. Precious is as engaged in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis as any kid I've ever had that's been out for a season. She's always around. She went to the doctor the other day. They say she's well ahead of schedule. And I wouldn't be surprised if Precious is going to be practicing with us before the season is over with, because she's ahead of schedule and she's doing wonderfully right now. I won't be tempted to put her in a game, I promise you that. But, just having her around has been tremendous, and our leadership is great, and they understand it. And I think what's happening, we have such a big discrepancy, because we have this great senior leadership. Then we have a whole bunch of freshmen and not a whole lot sprinkled in between. And so now the younger kids are learning that here at JMU, we play for the seniors. We've done that since I've been here. And, when Nikki and Kirby were seniors, you had Toya and Lady and, Jasmine, all those guys really giving their extra effort so the seniors can go out in the right fashion. our younger kids are understanding what that is now, and they're starting to give a little bit better effort, not just for themselves, but for the seniors, so they can go out, the right way. And it's a great tradition that we've started, and I think that's really helps us as we continue to get better and better.
And you talked about Muff, how she's an extension of you on the floor, but how when she first got here, it was a little rocky. At what point in her career did you really begin to develop that trust in her and see her turn into the player that she is?
Probably beginning of her junior year. Some people like to think that maybe it was in the sophomore year, but she had a good sophomore year, tailed off at the end, and she and we weren't on the same page at the end of her sophomore year, and which was a little bit scary because I knew she had to lead the team going into her junior year because there was no more Nikki or no more Kirby, and I didn't know if she could really do it. And probably early on in her junior year, she proved that she was everything and then a little bit more than what I expected or what I wanted. And from that point on, it's been great. I don't even have to call plays anymore because she understands what I want when I want it. And it's been a luxury for me the last 2 years to have someone like that. And I've said it before, and it's no discredit to anyone that I've had before her, but she's probably the best point guard that I've had as far as running the show and understanding and getting everyone else involved.
Coach, certainly was an exciting Saturday for the JMU men's basketball team there at the Convocation Center. And part of the excitement was the fact that the JMU Alumni Association presented a check to Mr. Bourne, the athletics director, for $500,000. And that money is earmarked towards the hopes that we do pray for, so to speak, the new Convocation Center. And this is a challenge that the Alumni Association is presenting to other alums. There are 123,000 out there to help to reach 1 million towards this goal. So, Coach, what does that mean to your program, and what can you plead for your alums to come out there and help support this program?
Well, first and foremost, I thought the atmosphere at the men's game was reminiscent of what I used to play in. The student section they had was fantastic. I wasn't able to be there, but I watched it on Matazone, listening to you as we were traveling down to Richmond. And I watched the ceremony when the Alumni Association donated the $500,000. I thought it was a tremendous gesture and a tremendous effort on their part to really jumpstart this campaign to get that new Convocation Center. And just listening to the numbers, it's staggering that we do have as many alums as we do. And, if everyone can step in and make a generous contribution, I think you and I even talked about it earlier, that even if they donated $5, I think that they would meet that goal of matching the Alumni Association's $500,000, and it would put us well on our way to getting a new convo, which is much needed, much deserved. And it's not just about basketball. I think that the new Convocation Center is going to enhance JMU and the community as well. You have events like you had on Saturday where the students came out in drones where it was electric. It's only going to enhance our basketball programs. You can have concerts in this new venue, which will only enhance the student activities, but also the community and the things that you can bring in there. So any efforts that we can give, I'm encouraging. My staff is full of alums. We have a lot of alums who come back and they offer their support to our program. We're going to reach out to them, and if everyone could just do their part, I think everything helps in this cause. And I think it's a worthy cause. And when this project gets going, I'm excited because it's going to enhance the parties that I talked about. But when JMU does it, they build a building, they do it right. And this new Convocation Center is going to be fantastic. And I think it's going to do wonders for everyone that's involved, community, the town, the students, the basketball programs, everyone. And so if everyone could just step in and do a little bit, it's for a worthy cause. It's not for just something that's, we want. I think it's something that we really need. If you walk around, I was in the Robbins Center yesterday at the University of Richmond, and they've renovated that place, and it is unbelievable. I played back in the days where Dick Tarrant was the coach, and we battled. It didn't look like that place, and they've done a magnificent job, and I think it's something that we definitely need to keep our programs on par. You look at our softball program, has a wonderful facility, our football, wonderful facility, our soccer's wonderful facility, and if basketball can get the same facility, I think it's not only going to help the basketball programs, but the university and the community as well.
I think Ashley Privet, the executive director of the Alumni Association, refers to it as the Madison experience. And many students will begin their careers there at that new convocation center, and some of them will graduate from that facility as well. It kind of bookends that possibility. So hopefully this will move on forward, and we do encourage all to be a part of this project.
I'll do my part. I'll donate my $10 now, plus the other thousands that it's such an important cause. I mean, you think about it. You know, we joked about it, just $5. I know if anybody can give what they can give, it goes to a very, very worthy cause. And you know, I'm on board, and we'll make sure that we get the word out to our people, because, like you said, the Madison experience. You know, my experience was I played in the Convocation Center when it was one of the newer arenas around. And I'll always remember that. And I have fond memories of the Convocation Center now. I laugh and joke, and I say, I don't care what the record books say, I am the all-time leading scorer in the Convocation Center because I've been there for the last 25 years, and I've scored many baskets. And I've scored many baskets in that arena, albeit it might be in practice or it might be when nobody's in the gym with me. But I have fond memories. But if I can look at it and say that, hey, we need this for the experience, for the new students, for everyone involved, I think everyone else should understand that as well. But it's for a great cause, and then hopefully we can get that done in the very, very near future.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. Best of luck down in Florida this weekend.
Thank you very much, Kurt.
Coach Kenny Brooks, JMU women's basketball, in just a moment.